Dallas Mavericks have a very interesting decision to make. Do you play Luka Doncic in Game 4 or take your house money and see what you can do without him before you get back to Dallas for Game 5? This is Inside the Mavs right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. And you can catch me on your home with the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. After the Dallas Mavericks got a Game 3 win in Utah, now they have a real decision to make after their win on Thursday. Do you send Luka Doncic out on the floor for game number 4 on Saturday, or do you wait until Monday to get it back to Game 5, where you could either be up 3-1 without him or tied 2-2 without Luka Doncic? Either way, the Dallas Mavericks are in a fantastic position after taking back home court advantage in game number 3. They have the impending return of Luka Doncic, and they have 2 of the final 3 games in their own building if the series goes a full 7 games. Now, the Mavericks have said, look, regardless of the outcomes of these games, we will determine when Luka Doncic is the healthiest that he can be before returning him to the floor, which honestly I think is the best approach here. You were able to steal a game in Utah without Luka Doncic, and you bought more time if you desire to have it, if you decide to sit him in game number 4. But if he's healthy and ready to go, there's no reason to go ahead and sit him once again. If he's ready to play and he's feeling good and healthy, and more importantly, the medical staff led by Casey Smith feel like he is not at any further risk of injury or re-aggravation of the calf muscle, it's time to introduce Luka Doncic to this series between the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks. Give credit to the Mavericks for the way that they've played, especially in the last 2 games. Hitting 22 three-pointers in Game 2, hitting another 18 in Game number 3. Jalen Brunson, 72 points and 1 turnover in his last 2 games combined. The bench of the Dallas Mavericks outscoring the Utah Jazz bench by 25 points in Game number 3. Davis Bertans, Josh Green, Maxi Kleber going a combined 14 of 20 from the field, 11 of 17 from the three-point line. Only 8 turnovers in game number 3. They even had the rebounding margin at even with the Utah Jazz. They've done everything they can and more to put themselves in position to have this decision be available to them. Sit Luka Doncic in Game 4 and take your chances with either winning Game 4 or losing Game 4, obviously, and getting back to the series in Dallas tied at 2 games apiece. Or you bring Luka Doncic in where you know he's going to change the entire trajectory of this series. Hello, Dwight Powell, who was in big foul trouble in Game number 3. Everything changes, obviously, when number 77 gets introduced to this series. And the way that the Mavericks have played without him, the confidence that they have in playing without him has shown throughout the course of these last 2 ball games. And should do nothing but give them even more confidence that if they have to go out in game number 4 without him, they can win another game in Utah. It's time for the Mavericks, as I like to say, to get greedy. Here is Luka Doncic talking about what he feels like and how he feels right now as far as his left calf is concerned, and whether or not he will play and what he's been doing to get himself in that position. Here's Luka Doncic.
Are you going to play tomorrow?
I don't know.
What's going to determine whether you play?
I'm going to practice today, so see how it feels. I think after practice we'll know if I play or not.
How are you feeling so far?
Feeling good. Pretty good. Getting better every day.
Do you feel like you could have played last night?
I feel like I play every game, but the risk was too much, so that's why I did.
So when asked directly if he's going to play on Saturday, I don't know. But you could tell that he's feeling really good and feeling loose about not only his health, but also the way that he's been preparing to get back on the floor. Getting more and more on-court extensive work, whether it be running, the explosive movements that he is needing to demonstrate to be able to be a guy that is deemed ready to play on Saturday. He is progressively getting better and better and better. But this is about what his teammates have done to get him in this position. Jason Kidd has put himself and this team into a very, very advantageous spot now, and it's because of the trust and communication that he has helped build for this team, not just in this series, obviously, but throughout the course of the regular season. And those are intangible things that you can't necessarily put your finger on. You can put your finger on the adjustments that the Dallas Mavericks have made, continuously attacking the rim, attacking Rudy Gobert and Hassan Whiteside, and being able to knock down and execute three-pointers with Davis Bertans and now Josh Green getting into the act. Obviously, what you're seeing from Jalen Brunson, what he's been doing from a playmaking standpoint. And then defensively, the scrambling, the communication, the rotations, the ability to be able to withstand runs from the Utah Jazz but put their imprint on the game with defensive stops. All of those things are tangible. But what you can't be and put your finger on is the way that this team has galvanized together, whether it be through adversity without Luka Doncic, playing together, staying connected with one another, and Jalen Brunson talking about after game number 3, our mentality of sticking together. He said he sounds like a broken record, but at the same time, that's what is most important for this team. They are sticking together. It's us against the world mentality, and they look to try and do that in game number 4 on Saturday. Here is Jason Kidd talking about where Luka Doncic is in terms of his progress and how he's feeling about it and whether or not he's, quote-unquote, optimistic that we'll see him in game number 4. Here's what Jason Kidd had to say.
What's our daily Luka update?
He did great in the film session. He participated. He's in good spirits. We'll go through shoot around here and see how he feels.
We know he obviously wants to be on the floor. Fair to call it optimistic that we might see him in game 4?
Optimistic. That's a good word. I think when you look at what he's done up to this point, he's going in the right direction. He's listening to the medical. He's doing all the work. There hasn't been any setbacks, and so we'll see how he goes today. It's a quick turn. We play tomorrow afternoon, so we'll see how much he can do today, and if the workload is where he does everything, we'll see how he feels tomorrow.
So Jason Kidd saying, hey, that's a good word to use, optimistic. We've heard from Mark Stein that the Dallas Mavericks plan to bring him back in game number 4. There's an opportunity to do that given what you've been able to do in the last 2 games. But if you have a chance to put your foot on the throat of the Utah Jazz, it's time for the Dallas Mavericks to take that opportunity in game number 4. We know how Luka Doncic bends the math when it comes to his ability to shoot the ball from the three-point line, but more importantly, how devastating he is once he gets into the middle of the lane, creating for himself and for Dwight Powell in pick-and-roll situations. But more importantly, the rotations begin to change for the Dallas Mavericks as well. Spencer Dinwiddie gets to go back to his role coming off of the bench instead of being in the lineup as a starter where he could provide instant offense and a spark for the Dallas Mavericks coming off the bench. All the things that Luka Doncic adds from a defensive rebounding standpoint gets better in this series, despite the fact that the Dallas Mavericks got out-rebounded in the first couple of games by a combined 38. They were able to get even with the Utah Jazz in game number 3. You could possibly be that much better in terms of rebounding team when it comes to Luka Doncic being available on the floor. Everyone gets better because 77 shows up. And it's time for the Mavericks to be able to do that if there is no further risk of injury, no further risk of re-aggravation, and they have put himself in the best position to go out there with no worries, no limitations, and no inhibitions about being able to play the full Luka Doncic game that he's capable of playing, because that's the most important thing here. Once you introduce Luka Doncic to the playoffs, that's it. You go full go with him as Luka Doncic, playing the normal rotational minutes that he plays, playing the ability that he can in throughout the normal rotations that he's accustomed to playing, the full first quarter, and doing all the things that you've seen from a rotational standpoint from him. I've seen suggestions that maybe you bring him off the bench like how the Golden State Warriors brought Stephen Curry off the bench with the foot injury. That's a possibility. But the way that Luka Doncic affects the entire trajectory of a game from start to finish on both offense and defense, you want to get to him in early rhythm as possible and get him reacclimated to playing in playoff basketball as quickly as possible. He should have no issue being able to find that kind of rhythm stepping back out onto the floor. And the way that his teammates have played so far, they have put themselves in the best position to be able to do so. The Dallas Mavericks now have the best opportunity in this series to seize control. They have an opportunity to take a commanding 3-1 lead in this series by beating the Utah Jazz and honestly making them quit. We are to the point where we feel like the better team is about to win this series. And even without Luka Doncic, it appears to be the Dallas Mavericks. They still have business to obviously conclude and handle on the road. And if they can steal game number 4 and then come back to Dallas with a 3-1 lead, knowing that they still have 2 of the final 3 games of this series in their building if they need it, and a healthy Luka Doncic by their side, the Dallas Mavericks are in a golden position and have a tremendous opportunity to get this thing over much quicker than any of us, or maybe most of us, expected. That is how much this series is flipped, and now the Dallas Mavericks are in that spot to possibly capitalize on the biggest win of their season to date if they get it done in game number 4. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Again, be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. This has been Inside the Mavs right here on Kevin Gray Sports. I'll talk to you later. Peace.